guys, welcome back to another episode of Real Ball.
And today we're revisiting the topic of people pleasing. This time we're doing a part 2. So, to recap on what we said last time, there's a lot of looking at similar symptoms, similar behaviors regarding people pleasers, but number one thing that we discussed was this difficulty in setting boundaries with others. So that all comes from the difficulty in saying no. They find that they have weak personal boundaries because they're filled with guilt and they're very uncomfortable when they set their own limits or refuse requests. And this can lead to overcommitment and resentment. So, for example, let's just say, I feel like I've seen this a lot. I'm not speaking personally, but I've seen this pattern a lot with females that come from immigrant families. Like, they're acting as the mom of the house, the therapist of the house, the caretaker. It also has to be like the daughter, and then they have to be perfect academically. They're committing to all these events that their parents want them to go to, because there's a lot of cultural events and there's not a lot of time to take breaks as well. And then when you're trying to juggle all these things along with being well-rounded and having a personal life, you're overcommitting yourself and you start to resent the people that are putting these responsibilities onto you. And if you don't do these things, you're filled with guilt. If you do them, then you feel anger towards whoever asked you to do it. So, for example, if there's a responsibility in the house, but it's not your responsibility, somebody just tells you to do it, and if you don't have the time, then
You try to make time for it.
well, not necessarily, yeah, but if you don't have time for it, and then somebody guilts you into doing it, and so you're not going to say no to this person, you're just going to do it anyway. Now you're resenting this person, and you feel mistreated by them because you don't have a boundary to say, look, I can't really do that right now. I have to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But I'll come back to it if I can.
But in a way, it's also like, people, I guess, like older sibling.
Yeah, I think it's
like,
I agree that it's an immigrant thing, but I also think it's a universal, like, older sibling thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, I was
like
just giving an example.
Yeah,
okay,
like,
I think I've
fulfill
seen.
the role of an older sibling. It's like your parents are like, oh, do this, and then you're like you want to say no and you don't want to do it, but it's like, you're an older sibling, you're showing the example.
Yeah. It's, like, hard to say no.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, it's, sometimes even if you're not getting guilt-tripped, it's, like, you're just so used to it that it's, like, hard to say no. Like, how do you...
To clarify, there is a difference between a parent asking a child, like, to clean up their room, to take out the trash, doing their daily chores. It's just like an agreed upon thing. This is your, like, responsibilities of the house in order to build a capable, functional, growing adult. That's perfectly normal. But when you start crossing boundaries and asking your kids to do things that the parents are really supposed to be doing, or you're not even doing them yourselves, and so that the kid has to step up and take that role.
Maybe a good example for that.
I mean, like, sure, good. I mean, the term is called parentifying, but yeah.
I feel like sometimes, like, it's, like, I think this happens more. I think this happens more with immigrant families, partly because the parents might not know as much as you if you think about, like, schooling or stuff, because maybe they didn't go to school here. And I find that a lot of parents, if they have younger siblings, like, maybe having trouble at school, not like trouble with, like, grades and stuff. I mean, it could be that, but it could be, like, more like, what should they do? How should they get into college? And it's like, somehow, like, you're the first person they call for everything. Like, and sometimes it's like, this, like, why can't you just do it yourself? Like, or why can't, why can't you just switch it up? Like, that's how I did it. Like, why can't you do it? But then it's like, you've done it for them. Like, so, like, for example, I have a younger brother, and obviously this is not like this is a personal experience, but it's, like, so universal as well. Because I've talked to so many of my friends, it's like some stuff that my brother needs help with is like I did all of this stuff on my own when I was your age, but now it's like he grew up with a sister always helping him, so then it's like it's hard for us to also be like, no, like you need to figure this out on your own. It's like, and even if you're super busy, it's like you need to pick up when they call you. You need to help them. Like but it's just like built in you since you're little to like just be like be kind of motherly or parental, like whatever.
It's very conditioned. Like my brother called me on the way driving here, and I didn't pick up like a normal person. I was like, "Hey, what's up? How are you doing?" I went, "Hello? Are you okay? Are you dying?" Like, and he's like, "Nah, I was just calling you." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, like that's so weird for us. Like I feel like you're only calling us like when you like need something done or like need help. And sometimes with the older kid and like younger siblings, it feels like you're just like a third parent to them, and it's like hard to be like, wait, you guys are siblings, like you're in the same like age like generation, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's hard to like do that, and I think that that's like an example of like conditioned people pleasing. Like I don't know, because like it doesn't, you can't say no, like even if you want to, you just can't because you're so used to doing it.
And it's your responsibility.
You like feel like it's your responsibility, even though sometimes it might not be.
Like what we did college options though, and it's good to help our like siblings obviously, but it's like
Sometimes they ask like the dumbest like
literally
like
oh just
how
like how do we do this again? Like wait, like explain, and which is fine, but it's like if you Google it, the first thing is like the step-by-step is right there. So I'm like, I did it, you can do it yourself.
There was this like one popular sound on social media where it's like, so where it says name and social security, do I put my name and social security?
My brother, like when he was little, he would like bring a form to me, and he'd like ask my mom to sign it, and then I'd be like, did you complete everything else just for her to like read it? Because that's what I would do. I'm sure that's what we all would do. We would like read it, we'd write our stuff, and then we'd go ask our parents. He'd bring this empty form. It's not filled out, like nothing.
Yeah.
And you just bring it, and I'm just like, do you know what the form is for?
like sometimes they don't even know where the form is or the fact that there's supposed to be a form.
like I remember in 5th grade, my brother, he had some like form, and it was like it has to be filled out because you're moving to middle school now. We asked him about the form. He was like, "What form?"
Oh man.
And it's like he just like doesn't even know what we're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
bro, like
you're able to wander through life sometimes not knowing what's going on because you have somebody else that knows for you.
And that experience everything you're experiencing. Like it's different from a parent because our parent and you might be a huge different like age gap, but it's like your experiences may not, even if you are not an immigrant and you lived here, it might be like, I'm sure if parents were born here, went to school here, and they went to college, I'm sure the application system is so different. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, they can't help as much. But like, sometimes my brother will like, just be like you said, like, he'll be like, so like, should I write my name here? And I'm like, well, what does it say? And then it'll say like, first name, last name. I was like, well, is that your name? Like, then you write it.
You're a lot more patient than me.
Yeah, and
I've just taken the form and been like, this is it filled out.
yeah, so that's what I do. Sometimes they'll be asking me questions like, do I write my date of birth here? I'm like, well, what does it say?
Oh, I'm just screaming. I'm like, you're so stupid.
Yeah, well, I just grab like, what can you not read? Like, what is it?
And it's literally dumb. Like, it literally says right there.
And then I just take the form and I fill it out.
Okay, so back to people pleasing.
We get off topic way too much.
It's like, I find it so ironic and so juxtaposing how it's like, yeah, you know, we really like take away our boundaries in order to make other people happy, and then 5 seconds later, it's like, are you literally dumb? Like,
while we're doing it for them, like,
just give it to me, like, I'll do it myself. Dumbass. Like, it's just, but sure, I guess, like, I'm not a clinical psychologist, so I can't confirm or deny whether that is a perfect example, but I can see that being a form of people pleasing. Yeah, where you're like setting aside your boundary. You might have like an assignment due or work that you're trying to get done, but you're still taking time out of your day to help somebody out, and you're never going to say no to this person.
I think it's more like, because I feel like technically you're not pleasing anyone, right? Like, I feel like it's more like you're pleasing yourself, because you're like, this responsibility is on me, and you're like, have to like fulfill that. Does that make sense? Even though it's like not like, oh, you have to do that. It's just like, but it's like you're not.
But like you're putting away your own like tasks.
Right, because it's like you're not like technically pleasing your sibling by doing that. Does that make sense? Like it's more like.
Yes, I agree. You're not pleasing your sibling, but you're not necessarily pleasing yourself. You're really just putting an
You're
insecurity
fulfilling
out
your,
there.
I guess you're fulfilling your role as the older sibling in a way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about y'all, but like sometimes, or really a lot of the time,
Like parent pleasing.
yes.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that-
right.
Yeah.
That's how.
Because that's what your parents would want you to do, right? Oh, if
Exactly,
my mom
but
was
it's
sitting
like-
here watching me,
Right.
she'd be so happy that I said yes and I helped my brother.
That's what I'm saying. So, but I feel like but if your parent is not sitting there, then you're technically not actually, like, you're not actually pleasing your parent. It's more like you're pleasing the idea of, like, if your parent was here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes
But
sense.
I feel like your parent is eventually going to know that you did help, and like they know. You know.
Well, there's, like, we probably help our sibling 90% of the time, and only like 50% of it gets recognized.
Never mind. Yeah.
Right? Like, I think
I-
that's.
No, I look at opposite for me.
Oh no, I'm looking wrong.
Oh really?
I think that you, like. I think that what happens is, like, you just do it so much that it's not valued as much. Like, it's just, like.
It's more
normal.
expected.
It's more like.
expected.
Like, literally, if there's a problem with some random thing that doesn't even
Call you
concern me, they call me and I'm just like, well, do I look like an electrician to you? Like, I don't know how to do that. Like, and it was, yeah, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there's also, like I was gonna mention before, I don't know if y'all feel sometimes like, am I a good sister? If you ask yourself those questions, and it's like, I don't feel like a good sister. I feel like I could be better. X, Y, and Z.
I feel like that on my good days, and then I'm just like, whatever. I'm good enough. My brother's blessed. Like,
You're funny for that. Don't know you as a sister.
are you calling me out right now?
No. Because I don't know your brother at all. I was just like, you're funny for that because, yeah, my siblings will constantly remind me how not blessed they are, is what I'm saying.
My brother sent me these Instagram reels, and it's like these like sibling things, and I'm just like, like 30 a day. And I'm just like, these are literally the same reels, like posted by different
Dude,
people.
my brother just sends me like brain rot.
No, we're all like,
brain rot.
you're like, I have an amazing sister. I'm just like, this is some weird energy. Like, you're never this
Well,
like.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're funny for that because you have a brother that seems to appreciate his sister's effort. Write it down. If you're watching,
You know the goofy memes where it's like on Reels, it's like, because Reels and TikTok are very, very different. I think Reels are so much funnier. Like,
Yeah.
More like out of the ordinary, like
Like
weird.
out of pocket.
Yeah, out of pocket. It's so out of pocket. So it's like, because there's no moderation on there. So it's like, did I say, is that right? Did I use the right terminology for that?
I suppose.
No one is
Moderation,
really like
no.
watching over. Like you're allowed to post whatever.
Oh,
Like
actually,
it
yeah.
gets away. So it's like TikToks where it's Reels that are
Disturbing.
like stupid animals, bro. Where it's like
Yeah.
your mom like getting mad at you when you are the reason. Like it's BS, and it's like, okay, why are you talking about that?
But
I just feel like, wait, what? How does this connect?
Wait, we're brother sends me those, okay?
Oh,
It's like funny.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Because you're talking
So
about
you get funny ones.
I get funny ones.
appreciated ones, and
Yeah.
you just get break rot.
just straight brain rot. It's just because like when I do something for my brother, when I do something for my sister, it's just like fulfills that insecurity within me where I don't know whether or not I'm good enough of a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's proof. Like, oh, you are a good sister. Like whenever they ask me to do something, I should do it. I should answer the call. I should text them back. And if I don't, I feel guilty. And if I do,
Yeah.
I feel a little bit good about myself for a second.
That's why I'm saying, is it more of a personal, like, pleasing yourself type of thing? Because I feel like sometimes I do think that I help my brother out of, like, if I was a younger sibling, I would want this. Like, I would have wanted
Yeah.
this. So I'm, like, gonna give that. Does that make sense? Like, 'cause I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, the people pleasing, but I don't think it's, like, a good example because it's, like, sometimes you're doing it because for yourself.
you would
kind of.
expect it for yourself.
Yeah, kind of. But I don't know
Oh,
if
we're really stuck in this like brother conversation.
Well,
3 siblings.
it's a commonality, I suppose. But to go off of brothers and go back onto the personal, sometimes people pleasing can diffuse your sense of identity and lack clarity about the self. Because another topic that we touched on last time was you'll just agree with people just so that you could see their face brighten up when somebody agrees with them. And so, and the fact that you cause that, it's like, okay, cool, not only am I avoiding this conflict, but I'm making this person happy. And you, like we mentioned before, you lose track of your own preferences. So you start to forget what you like. So let's just say you have a partner and their favorite color is green, before in the relationship yours was blue, and so then you're like conforming to their.
But I'm not sure if that's people pleasing.
This is like a very minute example. It can be something major like politics or like.
Or
I just think that like
even just like I guess like food, and you're like, I really want to get this dish, and it's like you got the dish they wanted last. I guess.
This is an example we used last time, I remember. Did we? The Italian Mexican food.
Yeah. It's not a matter of like preferences though, it's about
like
personality.
how about like you slowly being like, you know this person would like shrimp dish meal, so then you're like, oh, so now I like shrimp dish
I think
meal.
it's harder to tell. People pleasing is harder to tell in relationships because you don't know whether you're people pleasing or you're just like actually starting to like.
I think you
Does
can,
that make sense?
But
like,
I think
I've
you
seen-
can tell when a person's like full personality is changing.
Well, yes, but I think that like obviously if you can tell when someone's like fully people pleasing when everything's changing rapidly. But if like I saw this one girl, it's a very small example, but it makes sense. Like I saw this one girl talk about how she likes regular Coke and her partner likes Diet Coke, and over like a span of like a year, she ends up preferring Diet Coke because of how much she like drank that, and now she like just prefers it. So it's like
That's different.
right, but it's like that's a very small example. But if you take that on a large scale, and if you, especially if you spend time with this person like every single day, the line of are you people pleasing or are you just like, are you actually starting to like that is harder to differentiate.
It's a blur.
I think it's a good way to look at it is, are you a chameleon to people? So this is not necessarily people pleasing, but you could be a people pleaser if you tend to change your personality and the way you speak depending on who you're with.
Exactly. I think that people pleasers, the one quality that do like have is like, if you're a people pleaser, you're definitely not just pleasing one person in your life.
You could.
But most people pleasers, it's like a character trait. So it's like it's gonna be exhibited in like a variety of conversations or whatever.
It may be like this. So here's another example. There's a person that sets like decent boundaries with people. Let's just say like, you're my best friend and you ask me to come pick something up for you because you really need it, but I have like a really important test during that exact same time. I'm probably gonna be like, no, sorry, I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z, but I'll pick it up for you another time. But if you're in a relationship and you're so like heavily infatuated and you have a history of anxious attachment, where it's like, if I don't please this person, then they might hate me and they might get mad at me, and if I don't pick up this package for them, then they're going to resent me for the rest of the night when we see each other again, when we have dinner together, and I don't want that to happen.
Or you could also be like, then it's going to show that I'm never there for them.
Exactly, because they're going to use that against me, right? And so then you end up picking up the package and you're 15 minutes late to your exam, and now you just like lost 15 minutes. And so you might not be like that with everyone.
Yeah, I get
able
that.
to differentiate it per person in a way. That's interesting.
I get that,
I
yeah,
could
that
like
makes
that.
sense, but yeah, that makes sense, but also I think people pleasing is like, I guess, how you come to that result. Like, you could have done the same thing, but your mindset could be like maybe your connection is just deeper with your relationship, and then you're willing to prioritize that, put that time aside to go pick up that package for your partner. But if it was your friend, you wouldn't have pretend. But it's like, I think it all depends on what you did, but why you did it.
Not just
But
that.
it's like,
You know what I'm saying?
would you do it, like, it's like, some people might be like, oh, for my best friend, like, I still wouldn't do that, my exam is more important. But it's like, for my person, if they're so scared and they're so anxiously attached, they're willing to even risk losing their exam time to go to. I can see like where like people are able to, I mean, not rank it,
but I'm
It's a
saying
matter
like
of
more
priority.
like maybe like, okay, so
or fear.
same situation, pretend your boyfriend whatever texted you whatever. Pretend if in your head you were like, okay, if I texted you the same thing and you said no, pretend in your head you were thinking like, okay, but she can ask someone else, so my boyfriend can't.
Why?
I don't know, maybe he has no friends. Like,
That's the point, right? It's like a matter of priority,
But they can.
where you're putting your boyfriend's needs over yours, period. Like, your needs are to take the exam. His needs are to pick up the package. you're
choosing
you're
him
choosing
over
his
yourself.
needs over yourself, and it's like your boyfriend's happiness is not your priority.
Yeah,
It's
well, I do agree, but my thing is like, I still think that it's the way you come to that like the way you like what made you want to do it is what determines
But I
if you're
think
a
that's the
people pleaser or
mindset you
not.
have is because you're not a people pleaser in that situation. But I feel like people who are people pleasers, wow, it's like would do that.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying like so if you're a people pleaser and I'm not, and if we were in the same situation, we could have reacted the same way, but have a different why we did that.
either way.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. There might be different whys, but at the end of the day, you're breaking your boundary for your partner.
But
if you this might not apply to everyone. Like, so like not everybody that does this is a people pleaser, right?
Right.
The example that I just said. However, that is an example of somebody who can be a people pleaser for one person. So like when I mentioned before how like CEOs or dictators, they are people pleasers to everyone because they are handling everyone within the company or within the country. And so maybe in a relationship, this is an example of an isolated people pleaser where they are capable of putting up boundaries among every other
people,
person, but because you're so vulnerable with this one person, now all of a sudden they get the people pleaser side of you.
I agree, but I still feel like being a people pleaser is like a character trait. Yeah, you may show it to that one person a lot more than you show it to other people, but it's still like a trait. Like if you're a kind person, you're not just kind to one person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you may be kinder to one person, but you're still gonna exhibit that trait to other people. Maybe not as much, but like for example, I don't think I'm that much of a people pleaser, but I still find myself like doing things to please people, you know, and it's not just for one person. I find myself doing it for like a lot of people. So I'm saying like I don't think that it is like if you have a boyfriend, whatever, if you're like anxiously attached to that person, you're people pleasing that person, you may please them like every day, every single circumstance. But I'm sure you would exhibit that trait to your friends at a maybe like lesser
Yeah.
thing,
Okay.
but it's like a character trait. So I don't think that you can only be like, I'm only gonna people please this one person.
That right there is the difference between kindness, love, and people pleasing. So there's, like you just said, there's a trait, right? But now we have to distinguish, like really hyperanalyze the person. Okay, they're pleasing their best friend, they're pleasing their teacher, they're pleasing their boyfriend, right? And there's you might do like level 1 for your best friend, level 2 for your teacher, level 3 for your boyfriend. And so there's different levels of intensity. But can you really call all of them people pleasing? Because 1 is just being kind, 2 is being responsible, 3 is just like you're straight up breaking your boundaries.
Yeah.
So once it turns into something that is harmful, yeah, you can have different levels of people pleasing. You can have isolated, you can have like overall, but there's.
Well, I think if you're people pleasing your boyfriend at a level 3, then you're in a toxic relationship. I don't even think
I mean, sure, yeah.
healthy relationship.
That you perfectly said what I was about to say. It's like it's to a harmful point.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're genuinely putting him over everything, like anything.
But then it's like that's like I think that's a little bit different than what we're talking about because it's like, well, their relationship is toxic. So it's like if you're not having that type of relationship with other people, obviously you're not gonna.
It could be
you're
like
not gonna.
we were supposed to hang out, but if that person is asking me to hang out, and like I want to like please him and be like, oh my god, like I want to make him happy.
Then like yeah,
there's
exactly.
people like cancel, and I'll be like, oh no, we can hang out, let's do this.
Right, so that's like, I think it's like, okay, so then in that case, yes, I agree with what you're saying, but what I meant was like, I'm not talking about like, if you had, so like if I had a toxic relationship with like my boyfriend, I had a toxic relationship with Shivani, then it's like, I'm trying to say like, if we're comparing at the same, like, healthy versus toxic. Like if you have a toxic relationship, obviously it's gonna be so different than every other relationship in your life. But I'm saying pretend you have all healthy relationships. Then it's like if you're a people pleaser, obviously you're not people pleasing at stage 3 because that's like
Well, that's another thing that I guess like a question to pose. Can people pleasers have generally healthy relationships? Because people that have healthy relationships typically set boundaries in order to maintain oneself. But if you're a people pleaser, is that even a possibility for you to have a healthy relationship?
I think that's like all mental health stuff. It's a spectrum. So it's like how much of if you're. I mean, I'm sure if you're like. I mean, not I'm sure, but like I'm guessing that if you're like a 10 out of 10 people pleaser, then yeah, maybe all of your relationships could be toxic. Maybe your childhood or whatever could have made you become that way, and then you probably are also experiencing like anxious attachment to other people and things like that. But then if you're like maybe like a level 5 or 4 on a 10 scale, maybe you can maintain healthy relationships, but then you catch yourself sometimes being a people pleaser, but it's like maybe you're only a people pleaser like 40% of the time, so then your relationships are generally so healthy, and you're still prioritizing yourself 60% of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what do you think is the difference between a level 10 and a level 5 per se? Like, if let's just say you're somebody that is a level 10 and you become self-aware enough to the point where it's like, okay, maybe I want to dial it down to a 4 and a 3, 2, 1.
You start picking yourself.
I think,
Sure.
yeah, I
Actually
think
listen to your own opinions and your own beliefs and do things for you.
I think mental health is a very like small things lead to big changes. So it's like you pick yourself 5 times, 6th time you make all it might already be in your head to pick yourself.
You
You know what I'm saying?
oh, I study with this person every day.
And the small things could be like what Shemine said, like canceling people's plans. Like if you have a plan, you don't cancel. Like it could be very, very small changes, but I think everything with mental health has to be intentional. If you want to change something, you have to want to do it. If you're not gonna want to do it, it's just as bad as it's like substance abuse. Like it can take over. Like it's if you don't actively try to change something, you can't change it. Like it's not like it's a little bit different than if you had like a physical injury where it's like okay, if you just had a cast, you don't have to like. I mean, yeah, if you have physical therapy, whatever.
Well, they have to
but
work
like
so hard to get back to the way they were, you know. And
right, like you still have to put in the work for yourself, and it's harder just because it's slower to see results, and the results might not even be noticeable to you because all you're thinking about is like the perfect state. If you were to become like, think about how many times you're like. Think about how many times you're telling yourself now like you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. But then if you sometimes you think like, oh, me a year ago, like I'm doing way more than I thought I was going to do. So it's like, but you don't notice those changes unless you're actively trying to see the change. Like I don't explain that, but you know what I mean?
Yes. So to go all the way back to the relationship example, just one point to make is that when you are a people pleaser in a relationship, there's people that are persistent, which tends to produce an imbalance. So then, like, if you're a people pleaser that's constantly, like, 9 times out of 10 choosing the other person as opposed to you, you are going to feel like you constantly give more, and it leads the other person to take the pleaser for granted, and that's reduced relational satisfaction for the pleaser, and eventually, like, what's going to happen is they're going to burn out. They're going to give up, and eventually they're going to break up with this person, and the other person that is not the pleaser, it's the recipient of this, is going to be dumbfounded and be like, whoa, why? Where's all this coming from? And I don't understand. But then the pleaser had this analysis in their head the whole time. They're counting actions like tally marks and keeping score. Like, I did the cleaning, I did the cooking, I did work today, and I fed the cat, I did all these things. What did you do today? Nothing. And it's if that becomes a constant everyday thing, even though the other person's like, I just thought you did that because you love me, it's this imbalance where there's just different expectations.
I agree.
And what you mentioned, like, if a person ends up in this situation, they could be like that because of childhood. It's like, okay, let's go deeper. What can be the cause of people pleasing? Typically it does root in childhood and early life experiences when you're having caregivers whose love is conditional. So
I actually disagree.
it's okay.
Is it like a fact?
Yes, but
Oh. I guess like
okay, to clarify the fact is that not all people pleasers can have like their behavior rooted in childhood or early life experiences and not all people that have childhood experiences root from their caregivers. But is it a fact that that is the case for some people? Yes.
Okay. I also disagree with that too, and not in the sense like I think paternity.
Yeah, like Alina, you're just wrong.
Yeah,
Like we disagree with you.
I think like
So all my research just means yeah. So
I think probably majority of those cases are like that, but I think cases like I think for me particularly
so you don't
personally-
disagree, you just have different personal
Yeah, for sure. I
experiences.
think it was more like social norms in a way.
I guess it depends on what exactly they mean by conditional.
Social norms from what?
I guess like
Where did it root
friend
from?
groups in the sense like, oh my god, if I want to like be in a friend group, like I have to like agree and I have to listen, and in the sense like, oh, I have to just agree with the group and call it a day.
But like, where did that
So-
come from? Like, why do you even feel like that? Like, that
I
had to
don't
have
know,
come from
because-
somewhere.
I don't know, because like in elementary school I was doing chill, in middle school too.
Like, it must have been like maybe a friend did you really dirty. Like, what even made you like switch? Does that make sense? Because, like, that
I
must have-
genuinely don't know. I felt like I was like, I think it only like really like I've noticed like people pleasing in the sense of when I got into high school, but other than that I don't remember it ever being present.
Let me ask you something. So you said your friend group, if you didn't show up to every single thing that they planned,
Oh, that's
you
just
might feel
FOMO.
left out.
No, not left out. That's just FOMO.
Yeah, fear of missing out.
Not it's like weird. It's like not that I like miss like being left out. It's more of like a I missed the move. Like what
Oh,
happened?
well
Like
then
that.
I
I think that's just FOMO
that's-
for me. But it's like I don't know why I like do it. Like,
And
I
that
do-
makes you people please?
No, not at all.
What exactly do you mean
This is
when
like
you
a-
say you people pleaser?
Yeah. And what do you mean then?
I just find myself. I think I'm like. I think it's just like. I think I'm like. I guess like conflict too. I just like don't want to like deal with the whole discussion. Like I just like rather agree with the point rather than like have a whole like debate on it. And I'm just like tired. I just like, don't want to.
But why do you feel like
I
that?
don't know. I'm just like.
Have you
I don't want to
ever-
deal with it. But I'm not scared of conflict. I know that.
Yeah, but have you ever found yourself to be in a situation like that with your parents?
No. No, me and my friends will go at it if I need to. Like I'm not leaving until I win the argument.
Well, maybe is it like
Weird.
what
What
about
about
your
your
Yeah.
siblings?
is it maybe your friends, like some of your friends, like you feel like when you have an argument, it's just more draining than actually trying to fix anything?
It's not like it's like not argument. It doesn't have to be an argument. It could be like this. People are saying let's go do this, and then I'm like saying low key, but I won't even like say that part. I'm more like not anymore. I used to do it a lot, but not anymore. I'll say like whatever I want to do. But then I used to be like okay, like okay. I think like go along with the group, but I don't know why.
I think it was maybe, well, because we were in the same
Yeah.
group. I think it was just the people, bro.
Yeah. that's
Like
what
I think because like I get what you mean,
You know what I mean?
but I
Like,
think
one
it
thing-
was
one
how
thing you do wrong.
I think it was how those people were with you when another person wasn't there.
So how old were you when this happened?
Whatever in high school.
So keep in mind, here I'm going to restate what I said. People pleasing is often tied to early relational experiences, such as having had a caregiver whose love was conditional. Such as, meaning for example, but the real statement is it's tied to early relational experiences.
So
So when you
We're like young.
when you were not young, but you had friends in high school, and in high school it's like right after you hit puberty in middle school,
Oh,
you're
okay.
starting to be like gain more complex relationships with your friends. It's not just like, oh, we're gonna go out to school today and we're going to play at recess and then we're gonna go to our own classes and that's all the plans that we have for today. Now it's becoming more complex and you're building these complex relationships by hanging out in a multitude of areas, building these connections outside of the school, which would then make it richer when you do come back to school. For you to please people in order to gain more richness within these connections might have been important to you at the time. That is a early relational
which I agree with,
experience.
yeah, because it's like, yeah, like it was like literally like, friend group in the sense like, oh, good morning, like we'll go talk,
Yeah.
and like it's like,
I think mine is more of like when like it's more like my parents when I was younger, which is why I was saying that I disagree with like conditional, like in my personal experience. But it could also be like exactly how they're defining conditional. But
Yeah.
what I was trying to say is like I think that sometimes, like I remember at the beginning you were saying like when you're a people pleaser, sometimes you lose yourself, kind of like your identity and what you actually think. And I think that I'm somewhat of a people pleaser, and I think it's because like when I was younger, even now, but it like obviously stemmed when I was younger, and I think it's like harder to change now because I'm like grew up for like 20 years doing that, and it's like harder. It's like I notice it, but I can only change it when I notice it, you know what I mean? But I think that it was very like, when you're younger, at least I think this happens to a lot of like immigrants too, but it's like when you're younger, your parents kind of influence you to make the smartest decisions, and it's harder well, at least for my parents, it's harder for my parents to like let go of my hand sometimes and like let me figure things out on my own. So sometimes it's like their decisions or what they think influence how I feel, right? And it like happens to a certain extent, and then sometimes I catch myself being like, I think something, and then I maybe talk about it with my parents and they think something else. I catch myself like agreeing with them, but it's like not what I intend, like not agreeing, but it's like, oh yeah, maybe you're right, like, and I just kind of like catch myself agreeing, and then at the end I'm just kind of like, wait, like why did I go in thinking something else, and why did I switch? And it's like,
see, that's how I feel when I do it with friends.
Yeah, but I think that happening for such a long time, like, became like a character trait for me to like doubt myself when I think about decisions and stuff, and then when I go and talk about things with other people, it's like you know, it's like there too. But I think that it's just not there as much with my friends and like other people as much as it's there with my family, because I think, like you said, I guess is kind of an example of what we talked about before, like people pleasing like certain people, because sometimes it feels like I'm people pleasing no one except my parents. Like sometimes it's like I only find that when I'm doing my parents, because I always think like, oh, like they're making the smartest decision and like they're doing that, and sometimes I find myself being like, oh, if they're saying it's like good or whatever, I should do it. Like it doesn't matter what I think or like what I want to do, I'll just like do that. And then when I think about it, I'm just like, wait, they're like living life for the first time too. Like they don't know what's 100% right or what will always work out. But it's like I always catch myself sometimes losing my identity a little bit, because I like just go and think like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this, but then as soon as they're like, no, you need to do it or you should do it, I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. Like you're right. Like I should just do it. You know?
I mean, yeah. When you have, not necessarily, so in your case this doesn't really apply, but when you have conditional love or emotional availability was inconsistent, that can be the case, where you now have your emotions that are dependent upon other people. So if other people are sad, you're going to be sad, even though you have no involvement in that. It has nothing to do with you. And you might like think that you're the cause of it, or because it feels like that anger that they have for something else is being directed at you, which is unfair.
I have like a super specific example for what you said. Basically, I'm sure you guys all know, but when I was in high school, I was pre-med. Mm-hmm. And I'm pre-dental now. And literally, my whole life, I was like, no, pre-med. First semester of college, it was like the first time away from your parents, like, you know, and I was just like, oh my god, like, I don't want to be pre-med. And like, I realized the only reason I was doing that is because it felt like I was making my parents happy by being pre-med. And that's when I kind of like, actually, like, I feel like once my parents were like, they never say, like, we want you to be a doctor, but you know how, like, they're like, just kind of like added in, like, to conversation and stuff? And then it's like,
no, my parents were explicit. They're like, do this.
My parents were not explicit, but they were very like, oh, like, yeah, we would love for a daughter to be a doctor. Like, they just like say small things that like you pick up on, you know? Yeah. And not that it's their fault. It's not like, not that it's their fault. Obviously, like, I know that that's not their intention at all. Like, that wasn't, their thing was not obviously, like, I'm sure they thought I was super interested in it too, and they were just like encouraging me to do it. Like, I get that. But from my personal experience, it was very like, I thought like that would make them happy. And so I was pre-med for the longest time, and me being pre-med, I was just like pre-med. Like I didn't research a single other career option because I was like, that's gonna make my parents happy, like pre-med, whatever. Come to college, and that's where I actually like explored other fields. Like, I'm like, there is more jobs out there than being comp sci, business, or pre-med. Like there's more jobs out there. and I started researching things, and like that's when I decided to switch to pre-dental, and it was very like, this is what I want. Like I want to do this, and I can like give you a list of reasons why I want to do this. But that's when I figured out like I don't actually want to be pre-med. It was very like just integrated in my head that I need to be pre-med to like satisfy my family. But even though that's probably not their intention, like they probably never thought that that's why I was doing that, you know?
Well, these early dynamics can lead to this belief within yourself that you have to earn love for approval. So that might not necessarily
Like you'd tie love and approval together.
Yes. And that's not just necessarily a parental thing, it can be a societal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you make society happy, you are making your parents proud. So for you to make your parents proud, it means that they'll have even more reason to love you. So if your parents have the ability to tell society, I have a daughter who's a doctor, the amount of pride that they have within saying so would make them love you more. And it's like a pretty logical path in order to seek some sort of love. And that's why people try to please others.
I think that can happen in
career
more than
options.
just like parents too. Like
Yeah.
that could very well happen in like
Friends.
a friend or like a relationship. Like maybe not that specific like thing, but like I'm sure that there are so many ways that that could just like present itself also.
It could also be from watching the relational dynamics between your grandparents, between your parents, seeing how the man treats the woman and the woman treats the man, seeing how siblings treat each other. Seeing these things can influence how you perceive love and how love should be given or it should be earned, or what it should be.
I think that's like pretty prevalent in like toxic relationships as well, because it's like I think that people that are in those toxic relationships, like they feel like they have to do certain things to be loved, and they don't understand like that's not. It's like, you know when they say like you can tell someone in a toxic relationship that it's toxic and to get out of it, but they're never gonna get out of it until they realize that on their own, and it's mostly because like that person thinks like they have to do certain things to like be loved. But then, and even like you can see, because I've seen it like happen to like people too, where it's like if you come out of that toxic relationship, they don't even know, like they don't even understand the concept of like love is unconditional. Because like they think like they go into a relationship with a healthy guy and they're like,
It's
I have to
very
do it.
difficult because
I have to do it, but the other guy's like, no, you don't.
Exactly.
You don't.
Especially, I've seen it happen where like a person will go into a relationship, they'll make a mistake, a small tiny mistake. They may have tripped them up, they may have like accidentally done something, and they are over apologizing, and they feel so guilty and so bad for doing something very small and very tiny. They may have spilled a cup of water or a cup of milk on the floor, and normally your parents would reprimand you so hard for making a mess and now giving them more work to do and giving them something to clean up, and you could have damaged the property, whatever it may be. When you do this with your partner, you can see like a little bit of frustration on their face, but then they get over it really quickly and they help you clean it up. And you're not used to it, and you overly apologize, and it ends up making them even more mad now, because it's like, now I'm not even mad at you spilling the drink, I'm mad at you over apologizing, because
Right.
now it's annoying. Stop. And people don't realize that like I don't care that you did spill the drink, I still love you and we're good.
It's like hard. I guess it's hard for people that have been in relationships. Other like it doesn't have to be like a boyfriend girlfriend type. Anyone in relationships that love was conditional. So I guess that applies to the fact that you were saying.
There's no whiteboard that I'm pulling out, and it's like amount of times that
You messed up.
One.
After 10 messes up, I'm leaving you.
No, literally, do it 2 more times, I'm gonna disappear. Like that's their thought process, and to know that that's not the case when you enter a healthy relationship is very odd, and it's a big adjustment. But strategies and recovery. So setting boundaries, being self-aware. There's strategies on how to, essentially those two things though, but there are strategies to be self-aware, learning to say no, setting healthy boundaries, questioning beliefs about how one's worth is tied to approval, and developing self-validation. these things are what's going to help you if you are a people pleaser, to learn how to please yourself for actions that you do for yourself only. So you may please yourself by helping your sibling, but how can you please yourself without your sibling involved, without anyone involved except for yourself? For you to look back at an action and think, wow, I did that and I'm proud of myself, not, oh, it's just another task on the list, I gotta keep going. And it doesn't mean anything unless I actually did it for somebody else, and somebody else, I can get some external validation from somebody. That's when I know that the task was worth it. You can do 50 different chem packets and it doesn't mean anything, but if you help one person with a chem problem, all of a sudden I did something today. There should be a difference. So there was a study done in 2024 with 200 students, and the study was labeled "The Relationship Between Coping Strategies and Resilience for Students with People Pleaser Tendency." So the age range was typically 18 to 24, and they identified as having these tendencies of being a people pleaser. And there was a correlation coefficient about like 0.8, 0.77, and it's like a moderately high correlation between coping strategies and resilience. And so what that means is, like, when I say these things are what's going to help you, being self-aware, learning to say no, setting these boundaries, this study proved that if you put these boundaries in place, when you put these coping strategies in place, then your ability to keep being emotionally stable when you're not pleasing other people will become better. So their abstract says, like, entering the early, there's like a lot of context for this study, so I'm just reading straight off of what it said. Entering the early adult phase as a student, they will experience natural selection with a decrease in the number of people closest to them due to busy schedules and different responsibilities. Basically, like the friends that you had in high school, you're going to lose connection with them because they're doing their thing, you're doing yours. Some students try to maintain that relationship by people pleasing, and so that involves sacrificing their own needs and desires so that they will feel happy, and then that pressure will feel heavier, and they will experience complex problems in their own, like between their own responsibilities and desires versus like making other people happy. So let's just say I have to attend a lecture and I need to study for this test, but this person wants to hang out the same night. So having to grapple with this is going to, like, for any person that has healthy boundaries, it's no big deal. It's like, oh, of course I'm going to pick this because it's more important. I'm going to have to ask that person to reschedule. But with a people pleaser, this is a very tough mental battle of picking between these two things, because if I don't say yes to this person, then I could lose them. But that shouldn't be the case, and this causes stress, anxiety, depression. So resilience is needed so students that are people pleasers can overcome this, survive the pressure, and actually fulfill their responsibility as a student, which is, like, as many people say, the number one reason why they're in university, right? To fulfill their academic responsibilities. And one of the factors that, like that I mentioned before, that has a higher resilience is having more coping strategies. So that's important. If you are trying to become self-aware, you realize you're a people pleaser, putting in an actual effort, like you said before, you actually have to want to heal, right? And for you to do that, you have to implement these coping strategies, and until you do, your level of resilience will probably be low. But what we do know is that if you do put these coping strategies in, your resilience is likely to be high based on this study. But it's pretty much all about.
So pick yourself. Choose. You know the Meredith thing? Pick me, choose me, love me, but like do it to yourself.
Yeah. Don't ask someone else.
We don't need no man.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need no people pleasing.
Or a woman, if that's what you're into. Or whatever relationship type, friend, family, whatever relationship looks like for you, I guess.
Yeah. I guess just know, like, where the line is, people pleasing and adjusting, or being kind, like you said, or loving someone, like, just knowing where
It's just
those
unhealthy
boundaries are.
you know? The more you do it. So pick yourself.
That's a great way to end this episode. I didn't say podcast again.
Good job.
I'm learning, guys. But stay tuned next week for our next episode. Bye.